Welcome to the Love Your Naked Ass podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Riggins, certified health and life coach, holistic nutritionist, and self-empowerment aficionado. At the core of my being, I've known that I'm meant to change the world, one woman at a time. I believe that you hold the power to create your own reality in any area of your life by challenging your own thoughts and daring to rewrite the script. How do I know this? Because I'm living proof. I went from being a sexual assault victim who suffered from anorexia, body dysmorphia, and exercise bulimia to a confident, outspoken coach and mentor who is helping women just like you make powerful transformations of their own. Let's get started. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Love Your Naked Ass. Last week, we talked about the mirror mantra. And I shared with you how standing in front of a mirror completely naked helped me appreciate and love my body from the inside out. Today, I want to give you 2 more tools that I have both personally and professionally used to help continue that healing journey. But before I do that, I want to point out something very important. Loving yourself and your body is not something that happens overnight. This journey takes time. And it takes a whole hell of a lot of patience. And you have to practice whatever tools you choose. So let me be clear. There are so many tools out there to help you along on any healing journey you may be in. But if you don't apply them and you don't find the ones that really speak to your soul and you don't practice them, nothing changes. So think about this. When you were a child and you were learning to tie your shoes, do you think you mastered it on the first try? Hell no. When my son was little learning how to tie his shoes, he was adamant. He was so passionate about learning to tie his shoes. He would get angry. He would cry. He would throw his shoes around. It took him weeks to learn how to tie his shoes in the proper way. And I say proper in quotation marks because it was his own hang up that he wanted to tie his shoes a certain way. We showed him various ways that he could do so. And I didn't care how it was done. He just wanted to learn it. He didn't want help. He wanted to learn it. And he stopped at nothing until he figured it out. That's my point. Just like tying your shoes, these skills, these tools, this journey, it can take days, it can take weeks, months, years even to get the hang of it. But you have to continue to practice the skills that you learn. So please give yourself some grace. Okay? Like this is not something that you try on and you master. Just try on 1 or 2 of these tools and stick with them for the next 30, 60, 90 days, as long as it feels good to you. Make sure that the tool you use raises your vibration. Okay, I'm going to step off my soapbox. Let's dig in. I promised you 2 more tools. So the first one involves writing yourself a letter, a love letter specifically to your body. So grab yourself a piece of paper and your favorite pen, or just open your computer and open up the good old trusty Google Doc. I'll wait. So the purpose of this letter is to tell your body how much you appreciate it, how much you care for it. And I get it. Listen, this might be really hard for you right now, considering how mean you've been towards yourself and especially your body. I mean, we're talking about healing your body image. So it's most likely that you don't really love what you see when you look in the mirror. So I'm going to challenge you right now to ignore the voice in your head. You know, the one that's constantly telling you your body sucks, the one that tells you you're never good enough, that you're not skinny enough, that you don't have the right muscle tone, no one's going to love you, that you can't be naked in front of your spouse. Do I really need to go on here? You get the idea. Listen, that voice, she means well. In some weird way, she's trying to protect you. But what I want you to understand is she's wrong. So don't give her any power. She's an old thought loop that can be changed. Let me say that again. She is an old thought loop that probably didn't even come from you that can be changed. So before you write this letter, I want you to imagine that your body is your best friend, someone you love and adore. Now put your pen to your paper or your fingers to your keyboard and just write or type. What would you say to someone you love? How would you express your appreciation? What words would resonate? What can you say that will allow yourself off the hook for treating yourself so poorly? For being so mean to yourself? Can you offer yourself some forgiveness? Maybe some encouragement? Now, don't overthink this. Seriously, just let the words flow. Don't get caught up in the length or the language you're using. Listen, just write. There's no wrong or right way to do this. And once you feel like you're done and the letter feels complete, great. What should we do with this letter now? I have a couple ideas. So if you used pen and paper, I want you to make some photocopies. If you used good old Google Docs, then print out a few copies from your computer or printer. And I want you to keep a copy in your desk drawer or your nightstand. You can also seal it in an envelope, grab a stamp, and drop it in the mail. And when you feel like you need a body confidence boost, you mail it to yourself. Then I want you to take it out occasionally and I want you to read it out loud. Read it a couple times, read it to yourself, especially when you need to pick me up, because you're going to have those days. They're inevitable. You're human. All right, the second tool I promised I would share with you today is called Love Your Parts to Pieces. The premise behind this is to take one of your body parts, just one, the one you obsess over, the one you find yourself loathing every day, essentially the one you wish you could change, and write it down on the top of your piece of paper, or again, on the top of your Google Doc. Now jot down every thought you ever had about this body part, like lay it out there. Don't censor yourself, just do a brain dump, okay? And then when you're done with that brain dump, I want you to take a brief look at what you wrote down. Do you see a common theme? Are all these negative thoughts? Now choose just 3 of those thoughts, the ones that when you read out loud, you have a visceral reaction to. And ask yourself, how does this thought make you feel? And let's take it a step further. Because of this thought and these feelings, what actions or inactions have you been taking, or in this case, not taking, with this thought or from this thought? Are they serving you? So let me give you an example. I had a client who literally hated her inner thighs. She loathed them. And when we were working on this exercise together, her thought was this: my thighs are too thick. They look disgusting. And her feelings behind that thought were shame, unworthiness, unlovable. So her action, or inaction in her case, was things like she never would wear shorts. She would never be intimate with her husband unless it was in the dark. And she legit punished herself every day in the gym by doing hundreds of leg lifts and hours of cardio. That doesn't even sound fun, does it? So when I asked her to flip the script, she first laughed and then almost cried. You want me to look at my thighs differently, she said. And I said, yeah, that's exactly what I'm asking you to do. Because here's what I know to be true. Thoughts become things. And how you see one thing is how you see everything. So what does that mean in this circumstance? Up to this point, my client had provided proof to herself that her thighs were thick and disgusting. In her eyes, it didn't matter what she did. The thought persisted, and her reality was a fact. Or was it? So I asked her, if you liked your thighs, just go with me here. If you liked your thighs, what thought may you have instead? Better question. What feelings do you want to have when you look at your thighs? And What actions do you think you would take if you had this thought and these feelings instead? The truth is, she looked at me like I had three heads. And I get that. I used to feel the same way until I realized that if you don't like that thought, you have the power to change it. And the beautiful part about this is if you start to take new actions, different actions, or in her case, any actions, eventually you provide proof that you need to solidify your new thought. And I call that a win-win. So start taking stock to all of your negative thoughts around your body. Challenge them. Take them one at a time until eventually you find yourself actually liking what you see. All right, there you have it. My 2 additional tools I promised you this week. Try them on today. Give me a post, send me a DM, shoot me an email. I'd love to hear what you think. And until next week, I just want to thank you again for being here with me today. It means the world. So just a quick surprise. Next week, for the month of February, I'm bringing in some guests to the show who I cannot wait for you to meet. And you are in for one hell of a treat. But until then, remember you are worthy because you exist, period. End of story. See you next time. There you have it. That's it for this week's episode of Love Your Naked Ass. Thank you for being here with me. I can't wait to talk to you next week. If you love this podcast, hit subscribe, tap to rate, or drop a review. Be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Kimberly Riggins and join my free Facebook group, the Love Your Naked Ass Society. Again, this is Kimberly Riggins signing off, wishing you peace, love, wine, and of course, an abundance of dark chocolate. I'll see you next time.